What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about Hogwarts Legacy 2 and our concernometer. Now, I want to try to take a balanced look at this, okay, and kind of do the thing I do where I kind of look at both sides, play devil's advocate against myself. Some people don't like that, but we're going to try it. Look, it's been a crazy week, for WB, DC games, all that jazz, and it's got me thinking about, okay, well, what's the future? And so much of the future is murky, right, about so many of these different teams that they have, including now one less because they shut one down. But you think to Hogwarts Legacy 2, and you might think, okay, that's a bankable one, right? And I've made the case, I've said before, without Hogwarts Legacy, I truly do not believe WB Games is around. I mean, you take 30+ million sales, you take that equivalent of cash, right, which is billions of dollars. You take that away from the gaming division in the last 3-4 years where it's just been failure after closing studios, after everything. You take Hogwarts Legacy away, oh my dear, they can't survive. I truly believe that. That's not necessarily a negative. In fact, for Hogwarts and for Avalanche, it is the biggest positive you could ever get. You quite possibly could have saved your parent company here, okay? But now you think to the future and you say, all right, so much of this stuff is just a wreck, an absolute wreck, a disaster. The management, how these things lead to one thing leads to another, monolith. Here's the thing, I keep saying it, you go back to even my history, right? I covered Hogwarts Legacy 5 years before it came out, okay? So I'm an OG, as much of an OG as one can be for some of these games. I want to believe more than anybody, and I did believe in Hogwarts Legacy 1 more than anybody before anybody. But when it comes to the second game, I gotta be real, okay? Look, it could hopefully be a situation where this parent company is just freaking falling apart. They got no idea what's going on. And they have one or two studios that just, no matter the adversity, they are able to freaking knock it out of the park every time. That is a legitimate thing. That can absolutely happen. I'll give you, not necessarily a one-to-one, but I'll give you somewhat of an example that I can think of right now off the top of my head. PlayStation, and I mean, you can kind of pick. I would maybe say Sucker Punch, or you could maybe say for Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man 2 wasn't exactly what people thought or wanted it to be. You can look at God of War Ragnarok. While you have Bend twiddling their thumbs and failing at a live service game, while you have Blue Point, while you have Naughty Dog just being The Last of Us for the last 10, 15 years, all of this stuff. And again, I mean, there's good here and there, but generally, there's a lot of struggle, say, from these studios. And yet, you have a couple of them that no matter what's really happening, right, they're able to perform. They're able to do really, really well. I want to believe that's the situation here. But again, let me play devil's advocate. You really look at it, right? It has been tough for all of WB Games, really, for the last, I mean, you could probably go back to 2016, 2017, 2018 as the origin point. You go back to Shadow of War, throwing in microtransactions that outright almost broke the game, had to be removed because it really incentivized people buying these loot boxes. That hurt the game. That hurt the company. You remove that. You have things like multiverses. You have, just go down the list. You have the Skywalker saga initially being received really well, and then kind of as time has gone on, people have soured to it, right? Gotham Knights, pretty okay game, but it had so much negativity at launch and sold pretty okay, but we're not talking about a game that broke any barriers. Suicide Squad, keep going. Quidditch Champions, a game I was really excited for, and I still think, honestly, is a really good game, but just very little player base, right? People ultimately didn't really care about it. Keep going, and you find one that really seemed to work. Actually, let me just keep going one more time. NetherRealm, Mortal Kombat kind of at its peak, and you're kind of watching in real time Mortal Kombat kind of fall apart, which is sad because I actually like this new era ever since 9, 10. I like that era of Mortal Kombat, but it's kind of falling apart here right in front of our eyes. Bottom line is this, and again, to play devil's advocate, but to kind of just be fair, to kind of try to see everything here, it's been tough for so much of it, except for Avalanche. This is a studio that was not built to do Hogwarts Legacy and then built itself to do Hogwarts Legacy, right? And did a phenomenal job at it. So I want to kind of build off of that, right? Reasons for positivity. Hogwarts Legacy was a good game. It was a fantastic, I think, first piece to the puzzle, right? And a base of where you can go from there. And I think if you just simply stick with it, you are going to do A-okay. I guarantee it. I made a lot of guarantees heading into Hogwarts Legacy, and I think I was right like 90% of the time. I guarantee you, if you just work on the constructive criticism of Hogwarts Legacy 1, and by the way, I'm not singling out Avalanche here. See, the situation and the thing that does make me afraid is this is like a whole team effort, not just the team that works at Salt Lake, right? I'm talking about the team everywhere. And the thing is, I do trust the people that are working on this game. I think they have a great core. I think they kept a good amount of their talent from what I have come to understand. I feel like they're positioned rather well. But it's not just them. As we have learned time and time and time again, we've heard, none of these studios were pushed to do live service. And yet it's odd, as the trend became a thing in the gaming industry, everybody did it. It certainly feels like there was a lot of pressure. Maybe studios weren't outright threatened. Maybe studios weren't outright told. But we've heard enough stories of nudging studios in the right direction to do something. And I'm not necessarily talking about live service for Hogwarts Legacy 2, although that could be a concern, absolutely. I'm just talking about meddling, just general meddling, and the fact that, number one, it happens all the time in the gaming industry. It's a freaking miracle you got Hogwarts Legacy in the first place. But number two, this is also WB's thing. Like, we know this, and we also know to really not trust the people that do the meddling. Now, sometimes it actually ends up working out. I know we tend to, the executives out there, they tend to all be evil, and, some of them just really are so disconnected. But sometimes meddling ends up coming out with a good product. I mean, we have gotten good games, have we not, before in our lives? And I'm sure there was a little bit of meddling in plenty of them. But again, it's all about moderation. It's all about the right kind of meddling. It's all about just kind of having that right foundation and just like the right things kind of play out. And that is what I don't trust. I don't trust kind of the entire tower, right? Like, imagine the entire team effort it takes to do these type of games. And somehow it actually all worked out in Hogwarts Legacy's favor. And it's not like it's a perfect game, by the way, either, but it just worked out. It worked out enough where it did what it needed to do. And it came out. And it came out really well. And people really enjoyed it. And again, it probably saved their company. Can you do that twice? Like, that's the biggest thing. You have a team that's very capable. You have a team that, I think, if another thing that I just don't think a lot of teams do nowadays, right, is take that constructive criticism. I think you look at Concord, and I know that's a very different type of game, an example, but that idea of that toxic positivity, right, that we heard about, the rumors inside the studio, this idea that they could do no wrong, this idea that you can't criticize, this idea that this game was going to be amazing no matter what anybody said, they didn't want to hear it. That I truly believe happens more than we think it does. I just don't think it's reported. I feel like that's disgusting, by the way, a disturbing type of behavior. I don't think that's Avalanche. I think Avalanche is more than what we know this. We know they watched people's now I'm not going to say that they're going to take our 10 bullet points and implement all 10 of them, but I think they're very aware. I think they're very willing to try things out, and I think they want what's best. They want what's best for the game, but they also want a game that people are going to play. You can make the best game of all time, but if nobody buys it, you are screwed, right? So that I have no doubt about. And that's why, again, I want to try to take this like measured approach. There's so much of it that I want to believe in, but then, okay, well, everything you say is a positive. Go to those job postings. Why are they mentioning MMO stuff? And I know we've talked about each of these things individually. It's just, okay, put it all together. Put it all together in this ecosystem, or just in the system in general, of what we have now seen of WB Games, this disaster, right, of not having a clue what's going on. Put it in context. You know what I mean? Put it in context of everything else. And, okay, the MMO thing might not be a big deal. What if it's as simple as the upper management has forced some sort of multiplayer type aspect that's just not going to be done right? What if just that one thing happens? No matter what anything else happens, what if that happens? Doesn't that probably immediately hurt the game? I guess it depends, sure, but just that alone. Would it not scare you if they came out and said half of the game is going to be multiplayer? We're really jumping. We want a game that you can not only play at launch, but you can play for the next 3 years. That might excite some, but I mean, if you really take a few steps back, you look at everything, you look at WB, you look at the industry, live service games, their fail to success ratio, I don't know. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for you. You guys have that right to say what you want. I would be terrified right away. Sounds good in some ways, but I would be terrified. And it's like that could happen for 10 different things. That could happen for 5 different things. It could happen for 1. There's just so much that could potentially, I guess, go wrong. And I don't say it, to be, honestly, I'm not saying it to be like a pessimist, because actually one of my main critiques on YouTube that people will tell me is I'm too optimistic, I'm too positive, and yet when I say some stuff negative, it doesn't really matter, okay? At the end of the day, I want this game to be good. I'm going to support the thing in the exact same ways that I support Hogwarts Legacy 1, right? You're not going to stop me. You're not going to put me down. But I don't know. I feel like for as much as I support the first game and as much as I want to support the second game, I feel like there's got to be a little bit of caution, which sucks because I really think if any WB team deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's them. And the thing is, I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. I truly don't know if I can do that. Now, at the end of the day, I am one of like 30 million people that played the game. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but what if there's more people than just me, right? What if you saw Monolith? What if you played Suicide Squad after a Hogwarts Legacy? What if it's more than just one person, right? So by the way, again, I don't think that skepticism is necessarily all that negative. I think really all I'm saying is let's just be a little cautious, or I will be. I'm just going to be a little cautious. Let's just see what they say. Let's try to take a deep breath and say, all right, show me the whole picture. I don't know. I don't know if I would trust them 100%. To be honest, I don't know if you should trust any game or any studio 100%. Things are just too volatile, I think, to really do that anymore. There'll be biasness. If a Sly Cooper game is announced, I will trust it 100%. So I'm a hypocrite. I might do it for Hogwarts Legacy too, right? Other games I might be more cautious with. So we have our biases and we pick and choose, but I do think it's safest to, especially the way that WB has run things, to just say, all right, sadly, they are kind of in a prove-it situation, which they shouldn't really be. They did not do that to themselves. It was everybody else besides them, which is crazy. And again, this can happen. I think you can have studios that stand out even as everything else is falling around you. You can have that 1 or 2 that really work. It's happened before, and I'm sure it'll continue to happen for some companies out there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.